The book of Enoch says there are 10 heavens. Giving all praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. And this is more madness from these other camps we've been getting on lately. The HODC. And this really started with myself coming across a video that was a class room that was headed by Barak, Elder Barak, and he broke down Revelation, the 12th chapter, which I checked out the whole video, and he broke it down completely wrong. They say, and I believe it was another individual in HODC that did a breakdown maybe years ago, and talking about the beast and the dragon, and they were saying that that's the devil himself, and I believe it's the individual from the video that was put up that Elder Yashwamba did, getting on this guy, and he said in a video years ago, he said that the dragon is Satan himself, which is clearly going off from the teachings going back to One West. Now that guy fancies himself to be like a Hebrew expert and a priest and all that. I remember him back in the One West days. But they're clearly going off, man. For them to even speak of the book of Enoch as some inspired book from the Most High is complete bullshit, man. Anyway, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read some from the book of Enoch. And I'm not going to actually go and read passages from the book of Enoch, but I'll just read a little information, general information, because I know that the book of Enoch is nonsense now. They speak about other books in the scriptures, like the book of Yasha, the book of the Lord, the wars of the Lord, and many other books. But we don't have these books. So what Esau does is he capitalizes off of these so-called hidden books, and he'll just write a book up and sell it, and simple-minded bird-brained Negroes will get the book and go into the book. And the reason why these guys are doing it is the same. Manat Zakba, Elder Manat Zakba, said that they're trying to get well, basically, this is my word I'm putting into it. He didn't say it. He said they're trying to be prolific. They're trying to be special, because that's what gets Jake. Jake likes hidden shit. You know what I mean? Like if you come out with a book, same thing goes with HODC. HODC goes into various different books, and they'll say that there was such thing as mermaids. And believe it or not, the biggest number of people following the Israelite group is the GOCC, and they got a lot of women following them, and they're completely off. I mean, these dudes be going off, man, saying Edomites can make it. Anyway, it says 10 heavens, right? It says this is in the book of Enoch. It says the second book of Enoch, also written in the 1st century CE. Now it says the book of Enoch written in the 1st century CE. CE means a common era, which would be AD. So that's the first 100 years AD. So the question is, who wrote this book? The book wasn't written. If the book of Enoch, if you actually had the book of Enoch, it would be a book that would be given to most likely Moses. because Genesis speaks about Enoch. And Genesis was given to Moses. The first 5 books of the scriptures were given to Moses. So this would be one of the books. It would be considered the first 5 books. This is complete madness, man. And these guys, the scriptures say they have waxed worse and worse. It said the second book of Enoch, also written in the 1st century AD, which is the first 100 years. I said CE, AD, Anno Domini, describes the mystical ascent of the patriarch Enoch through a hierarchy of 10 heavens. Now this is complete fucking bullshit. Now the Apostle Paul speaks of more than one heaven, and I'll get that in a minute, but he didn't say anything. No, there's nowhere in the scriptures that it speaks about 10 heavens. It says Enoch passes through the Garden of Eden in the 3rd heaven on his way to meet the Lord face to face in the 10th, which is the 2nd book of Enoch, chapter 22. So now let's go to the blue letter. I mean, even Esau, that claims the Bible don't. They're not off like these guys. Your Esau going to certain breakdowns, and they'll pretty much be on point. But like I said, these guys are doing it to try to sound deep and mystical. They have the secrets of the Most High. And at the same time, this group HODC teaches that Cornelius is an Edomite, man. And I said in previous videos they need to get an upgrade. So now, okay, blue letter. Okay, this is second Corinthians. I believe it's the 12th chapter. Now the Apostle Paul, Spirit, went to the highest of heavens. And he's not going to say that there were 10 heavens. It says 2 Corinthians 12 verse 1. It is not expedient for me, doubtless to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Now when you go to Galatians, the 1st chapter, you can read it yourself. It speaks of how the Lord himself came to Paul and gave him revelations. And that's why the Apostle Peter highly esteemed Paul because of his scriptures. He said that in 2 Peter 3, you can start from the 15th verse and read down to the end. And it says in that same writing of Peter that there's many out there that will go and break down the scriptures to their own destruction. And that's what these guys are doing. It says, 2nd verse, I knew a man in the Messiah about 14 years ago. He was talking about himself. Now, if you go back from this point to 14 years ago, he was stoned to death, and he actually died. They left him dead after they stoned him. And that's when he went up into the heavens. And the Most High brought his spirit back down and put it in the body, and he just got back up. It says, I knew a man, he's talking about himself in the 3rd person. I knew a man in the Messiah about 14 years ago, whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. The Most High knoweth. Such an one caught up to the third heaven. So he was caught up to the what? The third heaven. The first heaven, like this man's system, this is his heaven. The second heaven will be space. The third heaven will be the spiritual realm, which is all around us. And I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. The Most High knoweth. How that he was caught up into paradise. Now, if there's 10 heavens, wouldn't the 10th heaven be paradise itself? Well, the Apostle Paul said a third heaven. It says, 4th verse again, how that he was caught up into paradise. Let me look up the word paradise. And you got to, these other camps out here that's teaching you this madness, like John the Baptist fell out the truth, and the Bible speaks about mermaids. And Barak, or Elder Barak, said the only way you can get healed is if you go to Israel, which is clearly not scriptural. So I'm not going to make this long. Let me look up the word paradise in the Greek.
Strong's G 3857. Paradisos. Paradisos.
Paradisos. It says, among the Persians, a grand enclosure or preserve, hunting ground. So we're going to be in hunting ground, park, shady and well watered, in which wild animals were kept. I'm not even going to read the rest of this. Of garden, pleasure, ground, grove. The part of Hades, which is supposed to be hell, the underworld, which was thought by the latter Jews to be the abode of the souls of pious until the resurrection. Well, pious meaning righteous. So you mean to tell me there's a part of hell that you go to that you're not going to burn? And see, the more we go into these scriptures, the more you understand that this Christianity and these other religions is garbage, man. That's why, when you deal with Sarnetta, what is Sarnetta always talking about? What does he talk? He doesn't even, he threw the whole Kemetic thing out the window, because you know what they found out? They found out it's garbage, that the Bible makes more sense. That's why Sarnetta said, the Most High dealing with me. He showed me to get you guys straight. And then he's actually pulling up scriptures, man. He ain't pulling. When did you ever hear Sarnetta pull up a precept in the 42 negative confessions, or whatever the book is called? It's nonsense to me. Or the Enuma Elish, or the Epic of Gilgamesh. When has he ever pulled that up? Never. Now he can say, no, I did pull it up. Okay, yeah, prove me wrong, okay? Most of the majority, 95% or more of the time that this man has a show, it's either a debate dealing with another religion, let's say, or getting on somebody in among the Israelite so-called community. Why? Because they even acknowledge that the gods of Egypt didn't exist. So why do we gotta be Egyptian? Well, if you're not Egyptian, you're going into the Egyptian hell. There's no Egyptian hell because there's no Egyptian God. And where do the spirits go that die? Huh? Anyway, and more people are coming from this Kemetic nonsense, which I call it nice nonsense, complete nonsense. If it really had any relevance, Sarnetta would be going more into it. They ain't going into it, man. It all goes back to the Israelite thing. And tell me that I'm lying. They always want to have debates with the Israelites. They always want to have an interview with the Israelites. And then you got the other side, the Christian side too. Vocab. And Vocab at this particular point in time, he's a complete joke. Nobody takes him seriously. And everything that he came up with in the scriptures, we broke it down correctly. It said the part I'm reading on about paradise, the part of Hades, which was thought, and Christians teach that you burn in hell. It says thought by the latter Jews to be the abode of the souls of pious until the resurrection. But some understand this to be a heavenly paradise. That's where Paul went to, a heavenly paradise. He did not go to the 10th heaven. These guys in the HODC, they're gone. They're completely gone. They're completely gone. It says the upper region of the heavens, according to, actually it's not a up or down or sideways. Heavens are part of the fourth dimension, which is not a direction. When your spirit leaves, they say it goes up, but it doesn't go up into space. It goes within the realm of the heavenly, of the invisible world. It said the upper regions of the heavens, according to the early church fathers, which were Israelites, the paradise in which our first parents dwelt before the fall still exists. Yes, they do exist. They exist in the spiritual side. Exists. That's why his son exists. That's where the angels exist. And the angels can take the form of men. And I believe I encountered an angel in the form of a little girl yesterday. But I'm a ponder upon it, man. She came out of nowhere, and I'll get back to another subject, but it says in Hebrews 13:1 to be mindful to entertain strangers, because some have entertained angels unawares. It says neither on the earth or in the heavens, but above and beyond the world. So now let's come back. 2 Corinthians 12:4. How that he was caught up into paradise and heard unspeakable words, which is not lawful for a man to utter. That doesn't mean that I would say it, but it's against the law to say it. No. What he was saying in the 4th verse is what he saw in that paradise, in that spiritual realm. He said he couldn't describe it with words. He couldn't describe it. Now, when the prophets received visions, they were able to describe things because the Lord, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, use things that they can relate to. Like John in the book of Revelation, when he saw the great red dragon, he actually saw a great red dragon. When he saw the woman in Revelation 12:1, he actually saw a woman. And he didn't understand what he was seeing, but he wrote it down. In Revelation, the 10th chapter, he saw things and he was about to write, and the angels and the spirit said, the voice said, do not write. So we don't know what he saw. Now Yeshaya, the the high priest from One West, he said, oh, that was talking about the Byzantine Empire. And when he said that, I didn't believe him. I said, who? I said, how the hell? The scriptures say he saw things, he was ready to write, and the Lord said, do that. The voice said, don't write it. That's why Yeshua is back in the world, adding to the scriptures and taking away from the scriptures. When you deal with these books, the book of Enoch and the book of Yasher and the book, this book and that book, those books, like the book of Yasher, there is a book of Yasher, but we don't have it. Now the current, if you find a book of Yasher, Esau wrote it to make money off your dumb ass, man. It says, the 4th verse, 2 Corinthians 12 verse 4, how that he was caught up into paradise, the spiritual realm, before the Father, and heard unspeakable words, which it was not lawful for a man to utter. Fifth verse, of such an one will I glory, yet of myself I will not glory, but in mine infirmities. And we all have infirmities of one thing, one or another. Sixth verse, for though I would desire to glory, he said in the Philippians, being dead is far better, but he is down here because it's needful to you. So it said, for though I would desire to glory, in other words, he didn't want to come back. And anybody that passes, you're crying for them, and they're looking at you like you're a damn nut. And they wouldn't want to come back if the Lord said, you can come. No, I ain't coming back. No. I want to be up here. It said, I shall not be a fool, for I will say the truth, but now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he seeth me to be, or that he heareth of me. Because we're just men. Then it goes down into the thorn in the flesh, which I'm not going to go into. But anyway, like I said, these guys are just going off, and the Most High is not dealing with them. The Most High is not dealing with HODC, and the Most High is not dealing with a lot of these groups, because they're adding to the scriptures and or taking away from the scriptures. That's in Proverbs 30. You can start around about the 5th verse. I'm not going to read it. Revelation 22, 18, 19 verse. Deuteronomy, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th chapter, mainly in the 4th chapter. It speaks about you can't add or take away from the law. Like the rape thing is a part of the law. What these guys are doing is taking away from it. So the Most High is going to judge them for that. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.